Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Amanda, and this is a vlog of my late autism and ADHD diagnosis. And I'm feeling a little rough today, but I decided to just go ahead and turn on the camera and point and shoot. Hold on, I don't like this. Okay, like seriously, I didn't even like frame it well. There's Watson. He is snuggling up with his elephant friend. Anyway, today's been a really rough emotional day for me, and that's why I'm like, I just want to like turn on the camera and talk about it and process my feelings, because y'all know I like to process out loud. The other day, I got somebody who left a comment on somewhere on my social medias, and they said, "I am so surprised. You're more honest than any autistic person I know." And I asked him what he meant. I don't know 100% what he meant. For one thing, honesty is a really common autistic trait. There's a lot of autistic people who just like innately just run towards more being honest. So I'm not unique in that matter. What I do think I am unique, and maybe this is what he is pointing to, is that I do try to present a fairly raw and vulnerable, authentic portrayal of autism and ADHD online. And one of the reasons why this is really important to me, it's why I don't do much editing in my videos, it's because I actually have the privilege in order to do that. There's a lot of people who still have to mask at a high level, and I'm talking about high masking autistic people. I'm not talking about autistic people who just naturally cannot mask. They're valid too, they exist. But what I'm talking about is the people like myself who are late diagnosed, who have masked their autism either intentionally or, like myself, unintentionally for most of their life. And they're trying to learn how to unmask. And I'm trying to share my unmasking journey with y'all as realistically as possible, the ups, the downs, and everything in between. I think that this type of representation is incredibly important in an online space. And what I mean by the fact that I have the privilege to do so, I have an incredible support system in my husband. And so I'm not like, he supports me financially, so I'm not at risk at like not being able to find a job or lose a job because of being autistic. And I also just am in a place where me being completely open about autism isn't going to affect me the way it could affect other people for various reasons. And that's not to say I'm like completely untouched by it. I have had some family members who have not responded well to my autism diagnosis. And they pretty much are not in my life anymore. Like, I'm medically diagnosed autistic, like, deal with it. But I don't fit their standard boxed definition of stereotypical autism, so they don't think I'm autistic. And unfortunately, a lot of late diagnosed autistic people get that from people in the real life and in online spaces too. But we exist, we are valid, and I just don't really have those people in my life. So it's not to say I'm not completely unaffected by it though. Okay, so about why today in particular was very rough. I did a video on RSD, Rejection Sensitive Dysphoria, a while back. And one thing that I finding interesting about my autism journey, like unmasking journey, is that there's a lot of like vocabulary words that are new when you learn about autism, such as RSD, Rejection Sensitivity Dysphoria, PDA, which is pathological demand avoidance, and I have video on that too. There's interoception, which is like your internal senses, proprioception, which is knowing where your body is in space, alexithymia, understanding and reading and your emotions. Like, these are a lot of vocabulary words. If you're new to getting diagnosed, you're like, what are these things? And a lot of them, when I first came across them, I'm like, do I experience that? I don't think I experienced that. And I think part of it is, again, I was so high masking. I've talked about it before. I was not aware of my mask, but as I'm learning about it, as I'm understanding the vocabulary, as I talk to other people who do identify with these different words and hear their experiences, I'm like, oh no, I do see that in myself too, for a lot of them. And so, for instance, when I first heard about RSD, I didn't think I had it. But again, I think that I just masked a thick skin and pretended like things did not bother me. And rejection sensitive dysphoria isn't like just feeling sad about getting rejected. It is debilitating, where you feel rejected and it like throws off your entire day, week, sometimes month, depending on what it is. Like, and it can be something that is incredibly a slight rejection. Like, it's not, most people wouldn't even feel rejected by that. It could be like some comment that somebody makes about you or your appearance or something that you said. It could be something, as big as a friendship ending that, again, could spiral somebody with RSD for a very long time. And a lot of it is perceived rejection. Like, sometimes it can be real projection. I'm stumbling on my words. I apologize. Sometimes it can be real rejection, like somebody is actually rejecting you. Like, that happens in life. But sometimes it is just perceived. Like, our brains just feel a rejection, even if it's not on the other person's end. So this happens to me a lot of times when I have plans with somebody and they have to cancel. And I have been working really hard on creating plans for that. I think I talked about it in a recent video. If somebody cancels a plan with me, it can derail my entire day. And part of that isn't rejection sensitivity dysphoria. Like, sometimes I completely understand why they had to cancel and I don't feel rejected, but because my routine for that day is now thrown off, my expectations of that day, that can be a disabling aspect of being autistic. But that's separate from RSD. But in like today's case, somebody had to cancel. Well, they didn't have to cancel. They literally forgot about a meetup that we had planned. And because they forgot about it, that pushed my RSD very, very strong. Like, nobody wants to be forgotten. But everyone's human, right? Like, people make mistakes. I forget about things too sometimes. Like, I have ADHD. I forget, like, I've forgotten to doctor's appointments before, like, it happens. Just because somebody forgets about you doesn't mean they're rejecting you. But if you have RSD, it can feel like such a strong rejection. So what happened is, again, we weren't really meeting up. It was going to be a video call. There was a friend who's out of town, and we actually scheduled a time because they're very busy to get caught up with each other because we haven't, seen each other, and to be able to video chat. And they forgot. And I, again, immediately got just like very big sense of rejection. And then they followed up. We were texting back and forth. And they followed up that they couldn't talk right now. They were sorry that they forgot. They would touch base with me later. But it was, the conversation didn't get to be complete right then because they were busy. And I just kind of felt left hanging. And I was deep in my feelings all day long. And so I tried to take them at their word. I'm like, okay, they legit forgot. It happens. They are legit, like really busy. They've got a lot of important things happening in their life. Their life doesn't necessarily center around me. Like, this is all okay, like, I'm not the center of everybody's universe, even though my autistic brain would have no problem with that. And so I am trying to reason with myself. And that's one way I feel like you can know it's RSD is because you can like say things logically and your brain is rejecting it because it's wanting to just go on emotions and feelings. And so I was trying to be logical and reason with myself. And then I tried to distract myself. I've been working on an embroidery project, which has been really fun for me. So I got that out. That didn't help because sitting there embroidering, my brain just started like spinning about it. So I'm like, okay, I need something that's going to get my brain more active so that I'm not just ruminating on this rejection feeling. So I did try to reach out to another friend because I'm like, okay, maybe talking with another friend could help. And that did. I did talk to it with another friend, but it helped, but it also, like, it helped to reach out to another friend, but they kind of almost like backed up my feelings in a way that justified my RSD a little bit. And, they were like, Team Amanda. But in the end, it was like, instead of being the logic sense, like, hey, Amanda, just think about it. Like maybe they are busy. Maybe they did forget. Maybe they feel terrible. They forgot, like, all the logical things. And they were like, oh, how did they forget, which, was supportive in its own way. Right. And then I reached out to, but I didn't get to talk to her for very long. And then I reached out to somebody that I'm trying to become friends with. And we've been chatting online from a mom's group, back and forth. And so I was like, hey, would you like to go out to tea? And her answer was awesome. Her answer was like, that would be so delightful. I was like, oh, such a perfect answer. But she's out of town for a while. She's on family vacation. So she's like, when I get back. I'm like, okay, cool. That doesn't help me in the moment, but that was still nice. But that, again, only helped my brain for like a couple seconds. And then I was back to ruminating on this like canceled video chat. So I tried to get lost in some housework that I needed to get done. And I tried to do some research on, I'm actually like I film all my YouTube videos. Side note, ADHD tangent. I film all my YouTube videos just using my phone camera. But I've been doing this for long enough. I'm kind of thinking to see if I should get a dedicated camera. I don't know because for whatever reason, I thought that wouldn't be that expensive, but they're actually a lot more expensive than I thought they were. So right now I'm researching, but I don't know. It may just be the phone. But I decided to like spend some time researching that. To try to level up my YouTube game. That was actually a little overwhelming. Cameras are complicated, and the good thing about phones is like I just like hit play. There's not that many settings, but again, right back to ruminating. So like everything I was trying to do was just like not working. And then my kids had an activity this afternoon, so I took them to that. And I actually bumped into another mom that I know that has a kid that's close to my kid's age. And so we actually just sat outside of our car chatting for a little while. That was nice. And it reminded me, like I do, like one of the things that RSD does for my brain is it will tell me I have no friends. It will tell me nobody likes me, nobody cares about me, I have 0 friends. And that is like really not true. I do have friends. I don't have a lot of friends, but I do have friends. And the RSD will try to pretend like I don't. Like it will tell me that the friends that I do have really don't care about me, that they don't like me, they're just pretending. Like, it's kind of it's really ugly little brain gremlin. Brain gremlin is what my son calls his OCD. And I don't even have RSD as bad as other people that I have heard talk about it. Mine does not get triggered, I think, as often as a lot of people, but I still do have it. And when it does get triggered, it's a lot. But anyway, while my kids were at their activity and stuff, I actually heard back from my friend who this morning had to cancel the video appointment because I had texted her basically and said, hey, are we still on for our call? And that's when she's like, oh my gosh, I completely forgot and I can't talk right now. And we ended up having a really good, it was short, but it was still a good chat. And it made me realize that all day long, I had been making up brain gremlin stuff. She really did like me. She really does like me. She really did forget honest mistake because her life is a little chaotic right now. And, she could really use a supportive friend because her life is actually legit, has a lot of big, heavy things going on right now. But I was so into my, rejection sensitive dysphoria. It's like, no, other people have real life things going on that, are big things for them. And they could use my support in that instead of me jumping to a conclusion that they, don't want to be my friend because they actually honestly forgot because they're human. And it's a really good reminder. And we had a really good chat. We rescheduled our video chat, and having that kind of closure, that conversation was nice. And one of the things that I kind of reflected on is that part of the unmasking journey, the healing journey, what I've been doing in therapy, what I've been doing talking about with these videos and sharing my story, is that knowing these terms, understanding them, understanding what my brain is doing is helping. Today sucked. It didn't have to suck, but it did. My brain made it suck. And I took steps to try to get out of it. And that's the best I can do. I wasn't super successful. I was better than I'd been in the past, where I would have maybe just gone into a complete shutdown completely and done nothing. So, if you're thinking about progress, in the past, if RSD like that had triggered, I would have shut down. I would have stayed in bed all day. It would have affected me that bad. Today, I didn't do that. I was able to work on trying to overcome the RSD. I wasn't successful, but I was in a space where I was able to try. And I was also in a space to recognize that it was RSD, and in a space to be like, let's wait and hear from my friend and work through this. Because in the past, without that realization of what was going on, I might have taken some actions that would have in the long run been more detrimental to the friendship. And today I didn't do that. I just waited it out. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Give the friendship time to breathe and exist. Not everything is right now. Oh, believe her words. She can't talk right now, but that doesn't mean she can't talk later. Don't force it. Don't be like, hey, I need this now. Just give it time. And then I was able to do that. And I'm glad she was able to come back to me today. That was helpful. That's not always the case. Sometimes people can't come back the same day, to complete a conversation. Because again, real life humans with their own real life, stuff going on. But being able to recognize the RSD and give it that breathing space and working through the different things made a huge difference. And I am feeling a lot better than I did earlier. And I'm reflecting back and feeling really proud of the steps that I did do and did take, and the progress that I have made. Like some days it feels like I'm not making progress in my healing, but no, like if you look back, I really am. So I'm really tired. I'm mentally tired. I actually had put on makeup this morning. For my blind viewers, I pretty much have rubbed off all my makeup because like I kept touching my face today because like I was trying not to cry throughout the most of the day, which again, like maybe I just needed to cry. Like sometimes crying is good, but you know, sometimes you, in that moment, you feel like, oh, I shouldn't cry. It was just a rough day. But I'm proud of myself at the end of the day. So I'm proud that I did give myself permission to just feel my feelings, try to work through them, and take that space. And in the past, I'm sorry if I'm being repetitive, but I just want to say this one more time. Like in the past, I have injured relationships by pushing like a conversation before the other person was ready to have the conversation. And I think it is very important for any type of relationship, whether it's a partnership or a friendship or a family member, for communication to happen. But sometimes it's okay for some space to happen in between, because I know I am a slow processor as an autistic person. My friend is allistic, but still, you know, people sometimes need to process. And in this case, it wasn't that she needed to process anything. It was because there was literally nothing wrong. She was just legit busy and overscheduled because of, and I want to, you know, keep her privacy private, but like stuff going on in her life that I already knew about. Like I knew these things were happening in her life. She just overscheduled, and it happens because human. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this video is helpful. I do these videos for myself, but I also do them, like I said, because unfortunately, there are very, very few autistic elders. The people who were diagnosed autistic before us have a different set of lived experiences. The people who were diagnosed in the 80s and 90s they have their own traumas and struggles to go through, which are very valid and need to be talked about too, but they're very different than the late diagnosed autistic people that have been being diagnosed in the last like 5-6 years. There's not that many people that like we can look through and be like, hey, how did you go about unmasking? How did you deal with these things? We're few and far between. And so that's why I am on here doing this, hoping that people my age, older, and even like 20-year-olds who are getting diagnosed right now, their entire childhood was undiagnosed autistic, and that is traumatic. So that's why I do what I'm doing. So if it has been helpful, I really do appreciate if you comment, like, share, you know, do all the things to boost the algorithm so that my video can get out there and my channel can help more autistic people and help allistic people understand autistic voices. And I am only one autistic voice. I don't represent the whole community. I'm one lived experience. But I try to take in account as many autistic experiences as I can when I share my videos. Until the next one, bye guys.